he was in tank when this tank was attacked by Russian, I don't know, something missile or something like this, and he burned totally, nothing left. I'm sure that you can't imagine how it's live in wartime, how it could be live in a country during the war, and probably someone will open new details, even small details of war, and understand how bad, how dark this time for anyone, not for soldiers only, but for citizens as well. So. Okay, hello everyone. We are doing this interview for the benefits of a Ukrainian military charity. We are raising money for an armored truck to be delivered to the 53rd Brigade to be used in logistic and recovering soldiers from the front line. The fundraiser is through the Minnesota Battalion of the 50 States for Ukraine organization. Link to the fundraiser will be in the description.
So, Victor, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Viktor. I'm 33. I'm from Dnipro. Um, I have a family. I have wife and daughter, and I'm working as a project manager of the development team in IT sphere.
So, why did you agree to do this? Is this just a favor for like your weird American friend?
Uh, First of all, it's a great goal. Why you did it, why you do it, and it's great to if someone else, someone from another country, can hear Ukrainians. Sometimes even I'm sure that you can't imagine how it's live in wartime, how it could be live in a country during the war, and probably someone will open new details, even small details of war, and understand how bad, how dark this time for anyone, not for soldiers only, but for citizen as well. So I hope it will have for someone, and of course it's because you are asking.
The actual fundraiser that we're doing is for the to buy a armored pickup truck or a pickup truck to be like converted into like a budget armored vehicle, but it will be delivered to the 53rd Brigade, 2nd Battalion. I believe that you have a personal connection to the 53rd Brigade. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's difficult to explain my connection, but I will try. My daughter has a godmother, and her godmother has a father, and this man serves in 53rd Brigade. Yeah.
Do you know if
Alright.
he's like a frontline soldier or does he work in logistics? Do you know what his job is?
I don't know a lot of details. I believe his family doesn't know a lot as well, but it looks like he is already he's father of my daughter godmother, so he's about 55 probably, and he's working mostly on fixing some equipment, fixing some cars or something like this.
When you told me that, I got so excited because maybe somebody that you know will see the truck like when it's delivered. I was so pumped.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and yeah, I heard a lot of stories from him, not from him exactly, but from his daughter, of course, that they don't have a lot of support now. So I mean, a lot of support from volunteers. So it's a difficult time for them now. So yeah, I hope I hope this card could help them.
so they need support more than they ever have,
Yeah,
or like this is a particularly critical time for them to
yeah,
receive
they
this.
they need support more and more every day.
So why don't we maybe we can start with the Russian bombing campaign, if that's
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So at one point you told me that Shahed drones sound like a motorbike.
Yeah, that's true, and we call them motorbike in Ukraine because they use engine from motorbikes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they buy it. No, they bought it them from Iran, and now they produce such drones by themselves. I mean, Russians they can produce them, and yeah, and they are super cheap. and super scary because mostly they use them at night. And can you imagine you are sleeping in your bed and you are hearing like a motorbike um, riding inside your apartment, and you understand that this motorbike will explode, and you hear they are very slow. They're not really very slow, but comparing to missiles, they're super slow. So they can fly with a speed about, if I'm not mistaken, 200 kilometers per hour. And you hear the sound and they closer and closer and closer, and it sounds like a real motorbike. And they close and close, and you don't know where not where, when it explodes. So yeah, that's true. That's we are joking about this motorbike, but it's very serious weapon, very cheap weapon, and very dangerous weapon. My group mate lose her home because of this drone, because of Shahid.
Did she live in an apartment building or a house?
No, she's living in house. She was abroad that time when this drone attacked her home. Only her father was at home. He was alone. Fortunately, he was alone, and he is alive. He was injured, but everything is fine. But their neighbors, there were a couple of people who were killed in this attack. Yeah, and their house destroyed completely. He's super lucky man. I mean, her father is super lucky man that he is alive, because I can't imagine. I saw this house and it's just two-floor house and it was destroyed completely.
How did he survive? Did he just happen to like be somewhere in the house where he was protected from the
I
explosion?
I don't know exactly, but she told me that he was looking into the window, and he saw the explosion, but he I don't know how it's possible, but when this drone explode, uh, he just fly in another room from this explosion. I mean,
Damn,
uh,
so he was thrown by the explosion into
yeah,
another
yeah,
room in the house.
and yeah, and he's alive. Yeah, he's very big guy. He's not small, to be honest with you. He's about 130 kilograms, so he's a big guy. But he said that he was feeling as he's like something super light because
Yeah,
yeah,
like a
he flight
toothpick being thrown.
yeah, he flight about 5-6 meters, and yeah, but he's alive. Yeah. He was injured, but everything is fine with him.
So how frequently exactly do these drone strikes occur?
It happens every day. Every day. We have drone attacks in Dnipro almost every day. In Ukraine, we don't have any day per year when at least one of our city attacked by these drones. They are super cheaper. They can fly thousands kilometers, and they adjust them every day. They improve them every day, so they can be more dangerous, and they can fly more, and yeah, and they are super cheaper. So for example, I think we had some um, comparison uh, with their missiles and drones, and these drones cost about $15,000, if I'm not mistaken. At the same time, to produce and launch missile, it will take millions. As a result, they can attack uh, everything with drones with the same, almost with the same effect as missiles, but they spend 15,000. Yeah, and a lot of people already died in Ukraine because of these drones. Yeah, they launch these drones every day, and they launch them not one drone per day. Actually, they when they launch them, usually it can be 20, 50 drones per night. So you just hear these sounds, the motorbikes on the road. It sounds like a motorbikes on the road, but they sometimes they so close, so it's very scary, to be honest.
How are the air defenses in Dnipro? Are there like teams of Ukrainian soldiers with machine guns on trucks shooting these drones down?
I think yes, but I don't think that it has a lot of effect if you just shoot them from cars. Yeah, we have air defense, and they, of course, they try to defend cities, but there are a lot of these drones, and they super cheap. I think they cheaper than our air defense missiles, so it's not possible to defend from any drone. Every time when we have attack, some of them, I don't know how to say, some
Yeah,
of
like
them.
some drones got through
Yeah,
the air
yeah, yeah,
defense network.
yeah.
When was the last time you had a good night's sleep?
I have two reasons to not sleep great. Not only more, I have small child, so yeah, I don't know what is great sleeping. But to be honest with you, last time when we had attack, we had combination. We had missiles and drones. So it was about 3 days ago. We had massive attack, and I didn't have power to not sleep. I just slept. And I heard that we have explosions. I heard that there were missiles, because as for missiles, you don't hear sound. You just hear explosion, and it's very loudly explosion. But my wife is following news, because in our news we can see where exactly these drones, and what is the goal of these drones. I don't know how it's possible, but yeah. And she was following this news, but I didn't have power. I just slept. Yeah. Sometimes it's too close and I can sleep, but sometimes you just can't just sit and wait. And yeah, mostly it's about 3 4 a.m.
Okay. My buddies that live in Kiev, I'll ask them about it, like, oh, how was your night? Oh, the Russians, we were targeted by this massive wave of drones and missiles again. But you often don't mention it, really. Like, I'll ask you how your week has been, and you're like, oh, work is okay. Like, why do you talk about it so little?
Because we are living with this already. I think they found these drones during 2023, and after this we are living with permanent air alarm. So we don't. So if we are talking about, for example, Kiev or Western Ukraine, they have a lot of attacks. So the Russians attack these cities often and so on. But in Dnipro, they often it every day. Dnipro, it's I think one of the most eastern cities close to front line. So we don't react on air alarm, because sometimes it takes about 16 hours per day we have air alarm. So if I stop working during this time, or will afraid of attack 16 hours per day or 18 hours per day, I can't leave. So unfortunately we don't think about it now. We think about it only when it's really close to our home, and when it's very Lowry. So sometimes I'm working, and sometimes during my calls, I'm sitting near the window, and during calls with my clients, I hear explosions, and yeah. And if everything is fine, if I see that these explosions is not closer and closer to my home, I'm continue with this call. So it's scary, but unfortunately, it's our life. And if we would like to live life, if we would like to work, to spend time with our families, we can't sit and think only about attacks.
I know that you're not in contact with Vladimir Putin, so you don't know the answer to this question, but what is the point of all of this bombing exactly?
As for now, I think they will try to attack our power stations, to damage our power station who produce electricity, and because now we have outages during sometimes during days, sometimes during hours. Yesterday, my family didn't have electricity at all, so they didn't have electricity at their home during all day. Only today morning they had electricity during a couple of hours, and that's it. And again outage. So yeah, now exactly when in Ukraine we have, especially when in Ukraine we have frost, and this winter is very cold. It's the coldest winter by last, I don't know, 15 years exactly. Their main target is our power stations.
So I'm curious about your thoughts on Russia and sort of the average Russian citizen. So do you have relatives in Russia?
I don't have relatives in Russia, but my wife has. So my wife has owned in Russia, and my wife has cousins in Russia, and actually they were super close. They spent a lot of time. They spent a lot of time in Ukraine, and my wife spent some time in Russia. On usually, my wife visited them on New Year, and they visited Ukraine on summer, I think. So yeah, her aunt is Ukrainian. She's sister of her father, so they were super close, and yeah, before war was started, of course. My wife didn't visit Russia after 2014, I think.
Has your wife been in contact with her relatives since the start of the war?
Yeah, they called. They were communicating before war, not so often, but sometimes. But when war started, they called her. They don't support war. They first of all they said that if they can help somehow, uh, they will help. So yeah, they don't support war. They they are good people, and but they don't understand. They don't understand, unfortunately, how the process goes, how everything here happen, and yeah, they don't support war. They kind people, and yeah, but it's not. It doesn't mean that they know everything about war.
So how do you feel about the average Russian citizen? Are you like angry or apathetic?
When war started, uh, I hated everyone, every Russian, everything related to Russia, and doesn't matter is it related to war or no. Now I still hate Russian governance. I still hate. I think it's I should say it, but it's obvious answer because I hate Putin. I hate Russian governance. I hate everything related to war. I hate the army and so on. As for Russian citizen, it's easy to say. I think I hate everyone who support war. Actually, it's not only related to Russia. It's related to after war started in Ukraine. After we understand what is this, I hate everyone who say we should start war or it's better to have a war. It's worst thing. It's most terrible thing in the world. I think. So I hate people who support war, and if you are talking about Russian, I hate Russian who support war. As for people who don't support war, who wouldn't like to have war, I am feeling nothing. So I can say that I love them or I understand them or I would like, I don't know. I feel nothing. Unfortunately, it's their responsibility that they selected so crazy guy. Unfortunately, I can't say that everyone voted for him. I don't know. It's not my deal. But unfortunately, first of all, it's responsibility of every Russian that this crazy guy is president of country with nuclear weapon and he can do what he does. So I can say that I hate everyone in Russia. If people doesn't support war, I can say that I hate them, but I feel nothing for them.
Do you think it's possible to be a good Russian or a good American for that part, for that matter?
uh, of course, I think it's possible to be a good person. You shouldn't think about your country or your religion. You shouldn't feel yourself as a part of something. If you do something good, if you do only good things, you can't be a bad person. I can I can say that probably uh, there were a lot of people in Russia who voted for Putin, and they are good people in normal life, and they help another people. But if we are talking about Ukraine, we our people died because of this, unfortunately, and I think thousands, and I don't know how many because we don't know statistics, but I think hundreds thousands of people died because of this. So it's possible to be a good Russian, of course, but it depends on from what perspective you are asking.
So when Donald Trump was elected, you told me that Ukrainians were actually quite hopeful about his second term as the president of the US.
Yeah, because he promised a lot, and unfortunately, he didn't do it. I wouldn't like to. I wouldn't like to critic of someone because I know that USA helps us a lot. US help us a lot. I mean Ukrainian army and so on. I can say that I think if nobody helped us, including Europe and US, I think we already were occupied. But yeah, we wouldn't like to proceed this war. Uh, Most of my acquaintances, relatives, friends, they would like to stop this war somehow. I don't know the conditions. I'm not politician. I can say how it should be stopped. How uh, how peace deal should look like, but it should be stopped because it's people just die and that's it. People die, lose their uh, homes and so on. And he promised to stop it in a couple of. He promised to stop it in one day, and already more than 1 year. And that's why a lot of people had had a hopeless for Trump and his election because if we are talking about Biden or Kamala Harris, they promised to proceed doing what they did. And in Ukraine, we saw it as a long story. It looked like we will have war during years and years and years because of this. So we had hopes that I can say about everyone Ukrainian, of course. I'm talking about my acquaintances and relatives and so on. We hope that Trump will help us to stop the war quickly.
So I'm curious about the effect of the war on Ukrainian society. So I've sort of read a couple of news stories about how a Russian destabilization strategy for Europe would just be to sort of flood Europe with all of their combat veterans as kind of a soft invasion force, basically. You know, the like Russian soldiers, like people that were in the Russian military and took part in the invasion of Ukraine, like they're all pretty hardened. I don't want to call them hardened killers, but you know, these are people whose psyches have gone through several years of combat and they're pretty used to violence and killing now. So the situation for Ukraine is quite different because your veterans, like all the soldiers in your military, they signed up to protect their country and defend their society from a foreign invasion force. But at this point, like the average Ukrainian soldier is like the most experienced fighter in the world. So how do you see Ukrainian society dealing with the just huge number of combat veterans following the end of the war?
Very, very difficult to say, to be honest with you, because we have a war from 2014, but of course there were less participants in this war. So we already had people who participated in this war and then started living their life as a regular people. Um, I was working with person who with not one but several person who were on war, and I have never thought that they participated in war. They were just regular person and they lived their life, normal life. But of course, now we will have after war finish, we will have millions people who first of all participated in more terrible war, because I think war that started after 2022 is super terrible and painful. And actually we already, to be honest, we already have a lot of issues with it, because mm, our country can't support everyone. So and yeah, and these people saw such things that nobody saw. I can't explain. I think that their mindset uh, will be changed, their life will be changed, and they will never live how they lived before war. And they are not guilty in this, so they won war, and I can't judge them. So, but we already have a lot of violence in Ukraine, related to veterans or something like this, and I think there will be more violence, unfortunately. uh, I hope I'm wrong, but I think, especially in our country, we will have a lot of problems with it. At least if we don't support them. If we can support, but it would be great, but I know that it's impossible. There are millions of people, and
Yeah, so I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about the birth of your daughter. Um, and I remember, I think the first call that we had after your daughter was born, you told me that that night was just hell.
yeah.
Why was this experience just so terrible?
Yeah, first of all, I'm man, and it's a point of view from man perspective, and I would suggest every man, to be on this process when your child is born with your wife, and only after this, I think it's possible to understand how difficult this process, how dangerous this process, and how nervous this process. It's so we visited hospital at 6 p.m. and they said us that the process started, so your wife is already going to give birth to your daughter, and this process was during all night. She was born next morning at 8 a.m. And it looks so painful. It looks so difficult, and yeah, and it's difficult to explain and difficult to describe. There is no nothing. I heard a lot of stories that men shouldn't be on this process, and it's very, I don't know the reason, but men should. It's only woman process, and no, it's not true. There is no nothing that you can see and afraid, or you can feel something bad. But I saw this. This process is not about a couple of minutes, as we see in movies. This process is long and very, very difficult. It's difficult to explain, but my advice is to visit this event when you have such chance. Yeah, and after it's very strange to say, because it was our first child, and we didn't understand a lot of things when they was born. So we were feeling that when she was born, everything is finished. So she was born, and we can have a rest. And but it was not true. Yeah. When she was born, they gave her us, and we didn't know what we should do with her and how to handle it. Yeah. So we were super tired, and it was morning, and we should we should do something with our daughter. Yeah. So
How did your wife feel after your daughter was born? Like, was she just exhausted from the
yeah,
long night?
yeah, exhausted, and I think she was feeling. I think she was feeling like someone killed her a couple of times, and yeah, so yeah, she was exhausted. It was painful, and it was painful not during this process, but she was feeling pain during several weeks, I would say, after this. Yeah. So yeah, it's very serious process. It's very serious moment, and women should know about this. That it would be not easy.
So I think a couple of weeks after your daughter was born, I was like, so when will the next child arrive? And you said never, never again. But since then I've spoken to your wife and she has like mentioned the possibility of having more children. How do you feel about that now?
Actually, I would still say never. Yeah, but it's joke. After my daughter was born, we were talking with my wife, and she said never. She said I will never repeat it again. It's not possible to do it. And I was sure that my opinion could change, but her opinion is just it cannot be changed. But several months ago, she asked me hypothetical question, and and I was shocked. I was surprised. I said, "You mentioned that never again." But first of all, I think it's possible because when now we see our daughter when how she's growing, how funny she is, and how interesting she is. When you see something beautiful, you would like to have more and more beautiful things. So yeah, I think it's possible, but not now exactly. At least until war is finished, until we are in a safe place.
So you say it's impossible to do that before the war is finished, but you and your wife decided to start a family in the middle of a war. Why did you decide that now is the right time when you decided
Yeah.
to start a family with your wife?
Yeah, it was a hard decision actually because we understood that it wasn't right time. Um, but we were living together a long time already, and we were ready for children. We did everything before work to be ready for children. We did everything with our work, with our home to be ready for children. And if war was not started, I think we could think about children earlier. But in 2023, we were talking with my wife, and we decided that we can't know how long this war will be. So actually, we have war in Ukraine from 2014, and people live in war already how 12 years. So it just we were lucky that we didn't know about this. We didn't know about war, but there are a lot of people who lived 12 years in war, and we can't wait 12 years. Her grandmother said that I am old already. So it's a joke, but yeah. But um, yeah, we decided to have a child, but now we understood that it will be hard in wartime, but we actually we hope that this war will finish until she is born, but war didn't finish, as you know. And yeah, I think we already have child. we already have child, and it's very difficult. It's very nervous because we're afraid of this child every day. We don't know how she will live, and yeah, and she's not in really safety. So we wouldn't like to give birth for another child, at least until the war is finished.
So after she was born, I think I remember you spent a little bit of time in the bomb shelter at the hospital. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. We again, she was born in Dnipro, and we had a lot of air alarm, and but when we were in hospital, they didn't touch. I mean, doctors didn't ask us to be in shelter until massive rockets attack. So we was there 3 days, and on the last day we had supermassive attack in Dnipro. There were a lot of drones, missiles, so on. So they asked us to go to shelter. Shelter it's just zero floor in hospital, and actually there was no anything. There was cold a little bit. It's not the great place to spend time with children 2 or 3 days age. So yeah, and there were about 10 children with their parents, and for example, from 10, about 7 children were crying because they were angry or hungry.
Yes. Oh, hungry. Yeah,
Sorry.
hungry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were hungry, and because of they were hungry, they were angry, and and yeah, and it was super difficult place to be there. Yeah.
So at at one point, this came up in a discussion about Ukrainian cinema, and you were kind of ranting about how much you hate a lot of Ukrainian movies because they sort of make up these ridiculous plot lines and the production value is bad. You told me during this rant that they should stop trying to invent these storylines and just stop a random person on the street and ask them the story of their family's history. Just because there's been so much, like so much has happened in your country. There's been so much like war and violence that every family has an interesting story to tell. Do you feel like your life would make a good movie?
I was talking mostly about people from war and people from Second World War. And I was talking not only for Ukrainian but about Russian movie as well, because before war, Russian movie was real popular in Ukraine. A lot of people watched Russian movie, Ukrainian movie, and they created some movie with stories, very strange stories about World War, and these stories were not true. Nobody believes them because it looked like, I don't know. It looked very weird. At the same time, every one of us, everyone in Ukraine from Ukrainians has relatives, grandmother, grandmother, grandfather who died, who served in, who lived in that time, and their story, it's something unbelievable. Anyone can say story. Anyone, I mean, from old people already, can say stories that could be a super great movie. Nobody will imagine even such story. So yeah, that's why that's why I say they shouldn't think about how to create movies. They shouldn't just find old person and ask them about their life.
You talk about that situation being true for people that lived through the Second World War. Do you think that's also true for a lot of the veterans today or people who lived in the east of Ukraine?
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes I hear some stories that even if you see movie with such story, you would not believe that could be. mostly it's super sad. Actually, not sometimes sad, sometimes difficult to explain. So, for example, yesterday, not yesterday, last week in our news, we read the story that guy. We had a change with Russians. I mean, they returns us our soldiers, and we returns them their soldiers. Um, and about 100 people from Russia. I mean, let me translate. Captive Ukrainians returned into home at home, and one of them, our news found that one of them is alive, but 2 years ago, her mother did DNA test, and DNA test confirms that this guy is dead. So they found something from I don't know, from
Like
front line.
battlefield,
Yeah,
like did
battlefield.
he lose a
Yeah,
limb or
yeah,
something? They
yeah, something like this. They checked it as a DNA test and confirmed that he is dead. He was buried, how I'd say it
yeah,
properly, so
buried.
buried, and 2 years ago, and now he's alive, and he's totally fine. I mean, he doesn't have any injuries with his hand or legs. Yeah, and it's very strange who did this DNA test. But anyway, can you imagine the reaction of his mother for his call? He called our TV news, filmed it how he called his mother. Can you imagine his reaction? Can you imagine this story? It's something I don't know. This story
So
is good, with happy end, but actually it's not happy end because his mother thought that he died during 2 years.
for two
It's
years.
it's that's great that he is alive, but this story it's terrible, and a lot of stories that could be that you can't imagine, that we can't imagine. I can say that. Yeah, only.
Do you have any friends or relatives or acquaintances who have joined the military?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who joined the military. I have a couple of friends from my previous work who joined the military. I have a couple of relatives and people from my school who are serving in Ukraine army. Yeah, and some of them already died, unfortunately.
Um, how did they die?
I have one relatives who was professional military. I would say it was his work, and when war started on 24th February, he was serving, and on 26th. He called to his mom or his wife. I don't remember exactly because his mom told this story, and he said that we are in the bad situation. I will not be able to call you during some time. No, don't worry, and that's it. And after this, they didn't have any connection with him. So it was second day, third day of war. After this, they didn't have any connection with this, and with him, and that's it. And they didn't know. They know nothing about him. They tried to find him, to look for him, but without any luck. And after some time, so his grandmother has shop in village where my parents live and where he lived, and he had a photo of this guy, and some soldiers visited this shop in 1 year or something like this, and they said that he is died. He died, and they know where. And in some time they found that he and a lot of his person who served with him were killed, and it was in Lugansk region. And priest who lived there. Uh, he buried them near to church, close to church, and they they make a lot of effort to found this priest, to found this place, and yes, they found this guy, they reburied him already, yeah, and the DNA test confirms that it was him, yeah. And yeah, his mother is godmother of my wife, and so I knew this guy. He was a very funny guy. And it's difficult to understand that he's not alive anymore. Yeah. I have a couple of another relatives, but I didn't see them even. So who died also, who were killed. But this guy, he was very close to our family. I knew him from his childhood. He's younger than me, 5 years, I think, younger than me.
Is so it's just by chance, like this person's grandmother happened to have a photo in her store. The soldiers passing by just happened to have seen it and recognized him. So it's just by chance that they found his body. Is that story common, but without the resolution of actually finding the body? Do a lot of people die in the military and then like who knows where they died or when they died?
I think most of people died in such ways. Like the current war is super terrible. Weapon will burn the body, and so I have another friend. He wasn't. It was my colleague from previous job. I was working on mine, and he was working on mine as well. And he was shot in tank, and in some time after he started serving, um his wife received letters that he is how I don't know the proper term, but uh, actually they can't find him. So he's not
Oh,
killed,
missing. Yeah,
missing.
missing
Yeah,
in
he's
action.
missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after this, in some time, people, guys who served with him, visited his wife and returned some, I don't know, some documents or some his stuff, and said that he killed. He was in tank when this tank was attacked by Russian, I don't know, something missile or something like this, and he burned totally. Nothing left after him. Yeah, and such people, and a lot of such people, recognized as a missing, especially if nobody was he was there. Nobody saw how these people were killed. So yeah, I think currently we have officially killed not a lot of people, but missing, I think, a lot, unfortunately.
Do you know anyone who was captured and wound up in a Russian prisoner of war camp?
Actually, this guy, first guy, my relative, I told you, they had hope that he is captured, and and trying to find him, and but no. Yeah, I have one guy from my school. This is good story. This happy end, I hope. And he was captured during also initial phase of war. He also called his family and said that he is in some forest. He injured, and most probably he will never see them, and that's it. So he called to say last words. Yeah, and after this, they found that he is captured, and he was in Russian prison too. I think almost 3 years. And currently he is in Ukraine. Yeah, he was returned on, if I'm not mistaken, it was on Easter, last Easter. Yeah, he's alive. He's, I don't know. He healthy? Of course, I don't think that it could be similar to some trip to some resort. I think anyway it would make some change in his health, but he's alive at least. Yeah.
Why do you say that spending time in a Russian prison is not like being at a resort?
Because when he returns, when people returns, they look like another people. They look like people older 50, 20 years. He is younger than me. He looks like person 45. So I would say. I don't know, uh, and I hope I will never know what happens in these prisons. But I am sure that it's very difficult to be there. It's super difficult because their returns look like, yeah, from horror movie. They look like people from horror movie.
Do you know anyone who fought in Mariupol?
Yeah, yeah. I
Is
have
that
one example, but it's very. I can't say this story has good or bad end, but my my mom, she's working as a teacher, and she has a colleague, and her son also was a professional military, and he was in Mariupol. He started in Mariupol, and when war started, he was in Mariupol, and then in some moment when the uh, captain understands that uh, they can't, they already alone and they don't have any support. He said that they can change their form, change their, I mean, clothes.
uniforms? Like
Yeah,
get
yeah,
rid of
yeah,
their military uniforms?
yeah, 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 and try to leave Mariupol somehow. They didn't know any situation. They didn't have any news. They don't know. They didn't know what happened in all the country, how it goes, and so on. So they changed his clothes and started walking from Mariupol to Dnipro region side, to Pavlograd side, and he was walking during several days or weeks. He didn't know where he is, on occupied territory or on Ukrainian territory. He tried to be hidden, so he tried to not see anyone. And he returned to Pavlograd. Yeah, and his parents didn't hear him during 3 weeks or something like this. So they were shocked when they see him. And after this, he was at home during. He was alive. It's a great story, but after this, he returned to war. After this, he returned to war and was injured very seriously. He was injured and he was in hospital, in military hospital in Vinnytsia, sometimes because he was transported by train. And currently, I think last time when my mom mentioned him, he's feeling better, but I don't know how exactly he is feeling. But
So,
I think it was super difficult to go to walk from Mariupol to Pavlograd. I think nobody knows how long is this trip. Yeah, I forgot to mention it. It's about, I don't know, about 300 kilometers, so about 250 miles or something like this. So it's too
yeah.
long. It's too long, especially if you don't know where you are, and is these guys, are these guys your enemy or friends? So it's, I think it's super difficult.
So, yeah, a walk of 300 kilometers would be difficult if the entire Russian army weren't trying to find and kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And this place from Mariupol to Pavlograd, it's mostly fields. It's not. There are no forests. There are no places where you can can be hidden.
So he was moving through the open mostly.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how it's possible how he did it, but yeah, somehow.